This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Tenured congressman in New Jersey. He was talking about this. Everybody is talking about this. You were talking this week to members of the White House, Washington, think tanks, groups. It is not what people think. It's not this notion of AI being Chat GPT. That's not it. I think we need to get into a definitional problem. Now, what roles do schools play in all of this, if anything?
Listen, first of all, we have to talk about kids go to school, right? Whether you're homeschooled, but the majority of kids in America go to a school. Right now, it's a pivotal moment. I truly believe, and many of my fellow, ethical technologists and people in Washington, we believe in America right now, this is a point of change. It'll go down in history with all of the technology, the AI, everything seems to be chaotic, right, if you really look at it and break it down. But schools right now have this tremendous opportunity to teach responsible AI. Let's call it AI literacy, okay? Because what we have to do with kids, remember everybody, let's go back, developing brains, the different studies, the brain's not really developed until age 25, 26. We have to preserve, critical thinking, critical analysis, creativity, independent learning, no matter where you go to school, okay? And so we know right now from our national report cards that in all 50 states, kids are failing. The highest score is one state, it's like Ohio, 32% for science. Kids are up to par. That is shocking, Lionel. The kids are failing, okay? We have all these studies now. We're talking all 50 states. So right now, this is this moment in history where AI should be a classroom tool, not a replacement for the teachers, okay? Not a replacement for the creativity, the curiosity, the imagination, but it can implement. And we're seeing such tremendous, seeing in the last year, okay? Many of the schools across the country opting out of phones. Great thing. And people push back and say, oh, yeah, great, but that's not like 24 hours a day. We'll take the 6-7 hours a day kids are in school.
And in California, even in California as well, they're doing this. It's not where you think.
It's all over the country. This is why media needs to spread the word so more will jump on board and know, we're not alone. We're doing this too. But having those phones out of the classrooms for 6-7 hours a day, again, the kids are focused not only on their academics, right? They are focused on relationships with their peers. So instead of the 4 kids at the lunch table or in the playground all on their devices, phones, when they're standing next to each other, which we see all the time, right? Walking down the street here in New York, there are 4 of them, and they'll all be on the phone, texting at the same time, not talking to each other. You see it all over the place, right? You see even people out to dinner, the kids are all on the devices, even though they're all sitting next to each other. But so we've gotten the phones out of the classrooms, and now we do have the studies that say academically better, attention spans better. But now the pushback, we have something called Chromebooks in the public school system in America, government issued. Okay, we learned all this during that COVID period when the kids were forced to learn at home, or we thought they were learning, right? Because that was a tremendous setback for children academically, but we learned. That is the good thing about that whole horrible period. We learned about kids schooling online, what they're doing. So these Chromebooks now, which, by the way, our government distributed to millions of children without putting any safety features on, which they could have turned on. All kinds of safety features that come with the Chromebooks, but they blindly just distributed across the country. And that's where parents and caregivers saw their kids were supposed to be at home during this COVID period, doing math. Mom walks in the kitchen to stir the soup or whatever she's doing. She comes back out, and little Johnny's watching pornography, and it's supposed to be his math lesson. That's where all these parents started coming forward, fighting back? What's going on here? But the Chromebooks now, and Governor Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania just announced, we're taking all these Chromebooks out of the classrooms by early 2027. Not only that, Josh Shapiro also said we're going to have mandatory cursive writing, music to my ears, cursive writing back in the classrooms. Because you know what, Lionel? I've said this to you for years, and I learned this from the nuns in Catholic school, but it sticks with me decades later. When I write something down, I physically write it, I remember it better, right? So now we have studies that say if kids actually write, they remember it better. So we're getting these Chromebooks out of the classrooms. We're going back to cursive writing. We're going back to a tremendous movement started by parents called pencil to paper, where we're not going to have these devices. A lot of schools will still tell you, we only do it online. Your child has to be on the Chromebook, or your child has to have their own laptop. Well, you know what? You absolutely don't have to have that. You can ask for a textbook, everybody. You can also ask for a package of papers. That's the title, pencil to paper, where your assignments for the week. Like we used to get those sheets in school, printed out with the math assignments and all that stuff. You can get this package of papers. And so you can get your textbook, you can get your package of papers or assignments for the week. And you know what? Other kids, we have reports, are saying, this is kind of cool. I want a textbook too. I want a package of papers to do my assignments. I don't want to be online. So that's what we at the Warriors, we spend a tremendous amount of time, encouraging all of this behavior, spreading the word about this behavior, spreading the resources, where to go, the website. All of this is free. How a parent or caregiver or a grandparent, because there's a lot of grandparents today raising kids or really involved in children's lives, where you go to start all of this and where you have your like-minded people. So you're not alone. Because one thing people tell me all the time, I don't know anybody else was doing this, or I feel like odd man out or something. So I think this is a tremendous, tremendous opportunity. I want to share one other thing. There is a class action lawsuit right now. There is a program in American public schools, called iReady. And iReady is something most classrooms are using. Is
that the letter I or EYE?
No, it's just a small I. So it's like I and then capital R, iReady. So most parents at the beginning of the school year, they'll get a sheet, right? The kids come with the backpacks and a million sheets they put on the table for you to sign. And parents are, again, blindly checking off, yes, my son or daughter can use a Chromebook. Yes, they can be on Google. Yeah, but because I talk to parents. And they'll always say, I don't know, I checked off 30 things. Well, you've got to do better, everybody. Parent up. You can't just blindly check off what's allowed in the classroom, because this program, iReady, which parents have checked the box for at the beginning of the school year, they now, we have found out, are taking all of your child's information, right, because they're tracking their learning within the classroom, and they're sharing it with these, you're a lawyer, third party, unbeknownst to the parents or something, sharing the data, the information. So right now there's a tremendous, it's brand new, this class action lawsuit. You cannot take our children's information, even though we sign, check the box for iReady in the classroom, right? It's tracking their spelling, their math, their this. It seems, remember the days there was a program we had different colored cards or something in the classroom.
SRA.
Level. But this is the same sort of thing, but again, it's online. But then what did they do? This iReady, they turned around and they're selling it to who knows what. Well, we do know everything's going into that big mishmash, AI in these data centers, right, to scrape the internet eventually when people go on ChatGPT and all these other sites. So you know what? iReady. So get into your classrooms. Understand this is a time for you to talk to the teachers, talk to the principal, talk to your children. That's where it starts. And listen to what we have to say at Lynn's Warriors, because we really know we hear so many things before the public hears them.